Happy Earth Day, everybody. In fact, happy 50th Earth Day. It is a special day for us all to remember that our activities and our actions that we take have an impact on the world around us, our Earth. And also to kind of remind us that we have to rely on the Earth. And so as animals that rely on the Earth, we need to be good stewards of it. Here at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, of course, well, every day is Earth Day for us. Our goal is to end extinction, to raise awareness for conservation, and help people get inspired to take care of the animals that we know and love, like these adorable rhinos behind me. Right now, we are going live from the Nikita Kahn Rhino Rescue Center, where our goal is to stop the extinction of the white rhino. We have a great program for you today. It's about a 30-minute live video we're trying to do here. I'm going to introduce you not only to the rhinos behind me, but the people that are actively making a difference to save this species. And also, I do want to mention right at the top, and I'll mention it again later, I can't thank you all enough, our members, our friends, our fans, everybody on social media who has come to us to support us, asking what you can do to help us while we help the animals in this time where the zoo and the safari park are not open. Our organization realized that a lot of people want to support us right now, so we created an opportunity for you to donate. So if you're one of those that's been asking us how you can support, how you can help, just below the screen here there's going to be a donate button, and also on our website there's an opportunity there you can click on at sandiegozoo.org to donate. Any amount will help tremendously. As a nonprofit organization that relies heavily on people coming to visit us, we're kind of at a position right now where we are happy to receive your donations, and I can't thank you enough for those who've already donated and asked how you can help support us, so I appreciate that greatly. Well, what am I doing? Well, I'm here at the Rhino Rescue Center, have some beautiful and amazing rhinos behind me. We have a program here not only with our staff doing great work to care for these individuals, but also a bigger program that spans the globe as we work to save them and prevent extinction. So I would like to take a moment to introduce you to one of our all-star scientists, and she's going to hate me for saying that, Dr. Bara Durant, who works directly on the program to help save the northern white rhino by working with our southern white rhino. So I'm going to step aside so we do our social distancing and bring Dr. Durant in. Please tell us also, Dr. Durant, who is behind us here and what is your connection to them?
Thanks, Rick. Hi, yes, I'm Barbara, and I'm here with Edward and his mother, Victoria. Edward's a very special rhino for us because he is the result of artificial insemination. And we use frozen semen for his artificial insemination, which gave us a lot of scientific information. One, that our freezing methods work. And another very valuable thing that we found out about Victoria is that she's now a proven female. She's proven that she can conceive and she can carry a calf through gestation to term, give birth, and raise this calf. All of this work is done, it's aimed towards saving the northern white rhino. Now these are southern white rhinos. Eventually, Victoria and some of her other herd mates will be candidates for embryo transfer of northern white rhino embryos. So right now we're working to study these animals in minute detail. We know exactly everything about their reproductive cycle, when they ovulate, and that's how we very beautifully trained. And I'd like to introduce you to Johnny Capiro, who's lead wildlife care specialist, and Scott Smith, who is wildlife care specialist. And they're going to talk to you a little bit about how they train these animals and work with these animals.
Thanks, Barbara. So once again, thank you for joining us at the Nikita Kahn Rhino Rescue Center today. We're so glad you can visit with us. So here we've got our two very special rhinos, Mom Victoria and her calf Edward, who is super special to us because he is a result of artificial insemination. And Victoria got pregnant on the first try, which is even more exciting. Right now he's about 9 months old. He's 1,250 pounds. He's growing right like we would expect him to. And the way we care for the animals here is we do all of our basic care that we need to do, our excellent care standards. And then we also use positive reinforcement, where we pair some behaviors that we would like to see, natural behaviors that help us take care of them. And then they have the choice to participate or not, and that gives them choice and control over their environment, and they get to choose to participate in their own care and even some research. So some of the things that we've trained, maybe Scott can demonstrate. Maybe try a little hand target.
Yeah, some of the things we've trained with, we started with Edward a little bit, and Victoria's very good at it, but we do hand targets. As Victoria finishes her food, she might be willing to participate.
We usually have a signal to indicate that they're doing a good job or the correct behavior, but because of course we're wearing our PPE today and being very safe, we are kind of forgoing that signal. They have such a good bond with us, and these behaviors are very well established that they know the deal at this point.
So the importance of this training for what we're doing with their reproduction is when the animals first arrived in November of 2015, they immediately started collecting, the wildlife care specialist was collecting samples, and we were taking them to the lab over at the Institute for Conservation Research and looking at their hormones. So we had an idea of what the animals were doing reproductively when they got here. The next thing that was trained was for these animals to come into an alleyway where we could actually do ultrasound with no anesthesia, no sedation, no restraint. So these animals voluntarily come in for ultrasound. So then we could get a very detailed view of their reproductive tract and their ovaries. We could tell exactly when they were going to ovulate, and we also followed the pregnancies all the way through with ultrasound because these animals are so well trained and habituated to their wildlife care specialists.
You can see the white rhino is defined by that large, wide, broad lip. They're natural grazers. They're kind of built like a lawnmower with a great big head that hangs down to the ground, and they grab the grasses with really strong lips. So we are kind of safe to hand feed them because they don't have any teeth up front. They just have premolars and molars in the back used to grind grasses. And again, those very strong, muscular lips. And they do chew pretty slowly. So their training sessions do take a little bit longer. Rhinos take a lot of patience to work with, but these girls are fantastic.
So we mentioned the ultimate goal is for these females to be recipients or surrogates for northern white rhino embryos. Well, we don't have northern white rhino eggs, so we are actually trying to produce them in the lab with stem cells. Our conservation genetics department is doing that, and once they have sperm and eggs in the lab, then we will put them together in our lab, make embryos, and do the embryo transfer. I see we have a question.
Yeah, Reese wants to know what they eat and drink.
So our rhinos eat a diet that is specifically measured out for them. It's made of some pelleted feed that's been specially designed by our nutritionists, some compressed hay cubes, and then they eat lots and lots of hay because they are grazers, and they drink water.
And Mia wants to know, why do they have big horns?
The big horns are for defense mechanism. They use them for sparring. And unfortunately, that's part of their demise in their natural habitat right now. They are poached at a rate 1 every 8 hours for these horns that are made up of nothing more than keratin, like your hair or fingernails. There's no magic in this horn. It is just keratin. She needs it. The rhinos out in the wild need it to survive.
So the work that we're doing here, the basic research that we're doing here with these animals, southern white rhinos, they are the most numerous of all rhino species, but they are also endangered due to poaching, as Johnny mentioned, for their horns. The other species of rhinos are critically endangered. Everything that we learn with these animals can be applied to other rhino species. And this is a very large, comprehensive project that we're doing, and we're combining many, many different scientific disciplines and people from all different backgrounds and talents. And this will be a model not only for the rhino species, but for other species of endangered animals.
James wants to know how old they get. how old they can get?
They actually can live a pretty long time, up into their 40s. So Victoria is a nice young 11 years old. Our oldest rhino that we have at the Rhino Rescue Center is 31, so he's definitely getting up there in age. But they're pretty hardy, and they don't succumb to many medical issues. And yeah, they can live up to 40, 45. So some of the other behaviors that we've trained, we do basic behaviors to get them to kind of move around the facility. We don't ever share a space with them, so we like to move them around from yard to yard to be able to do cleaning. But the main thing is we want to be able to do hands-on examinations, which might just be touching their skin or getting a closer look at something, all the way up to something like standing still for a blood draw. We're also able to do IM injections with them, that's intramuscular injections, if they need any medication or anything. And then, of course, they're able to participate in the research part of this project, where we're able to have them stand nice and calmly for our researchers to do very frequent ultrasounds.
Ethan would like to know how much Mom weighs.
Victoria is right around 4,000 pounds right now.
So Barbara, you talked a lot about the importance of the work we do to save them. The science that you're using now will and can be used to help other rhino species too. I think it's kind of important for our audience to understand, why do we need to save them? What's the big deal if a species goes extinct?
Every species has an integral part of the ecosystem function. So when you take any species, whether it's a plant, a bird, an insect, or something as large as a rhino, out of an ecosystem, a lot of the system collapses and malfunctions. So these animals graze, so they're responsible for cutting down the grasses, keep the grasses down. They churn up the mud when they walk through it, and that keeps things aerated. Their feces is good for the environment. It's good fertilizer, keeps that grass growing back again. Many birds will sit on these animals and pick small insects off their skin, which is beneficial for not only the birds but for the rhinos themselves. And that's just an example with rhinos, but every species has a function in the ecosystem. We cannot function without healthy ecosystems. When any ecosystem around the planet disappears or collapses, that is another step towards total collapse of our ecosystems. And I think people maybe don't realize how much we get from our ecosystems. We get fresh water, essential for all life. We get fresh food. We get fruits and vegetables, other plant materials to eat, for the animals to eat. Without the plants, the animals don't survive. So the plants are the basic food for every animal, every species on the planet. No matter where you are in the food chain, at the bottom of that food chain is plants. So that's extremely important. So in order for us to continue to live in harmony with our ecosystems and to gain the advantages of healthy ecosystems, we need to protect them.
Olivia would like to know if rhinos can swim.
This species of rhino, the white rhino, cannot swim. They're low-hanging heads. The way they're designed is for grazing. They cannot swim, but the greater one-horn, the Asian species of rhinos, they can swim, and we very frequently see them wallowing and floating in their pools out in the field.
And Nolan wants to know if they get sunburn.
They do have thick skin, but of course it's sensitive, and that's where mud wallows come in. They roll in the mud and get this nice coating. You can see Edward's really crumbly right now. He went for a wallow this morning. That can act like sunscreen and bug repellent and cool them off. You gonna lay down?
You can see what Scott's doing right now. He's bonding with Edward, and Edward is, all of these animals are very sensitive to touch. You wouldn't think so because their skin is so thick, but they're very sensitive, and they do love to be touched by humans. And you can see Scott is bonding. He knows what Edward likes, and Edward responds to that. Sometimes, if Scott scratches him in just the right spot, Edward will flop over on the ground in sheer pleasure. But this is a way to reinforce the bond between the wildlife care specialist and the animals, which is very important when you're working this closely with the animals every day.
Barbara, Gretchen wants to know how you become a rhino scientist.
Well, I didn't start out to be a rhino specialist, but I did want to study animals, and I wanted to study reproduction. So my undergraduate degree is in animal science, so I studied livestock, cattle and pigs, horses, sheep, goats, and then I went to graduate school to study specifically reproduction. When I finished the PhD, I came to the San Diego Zoo to do a postdoc, which is training beyond a PhD, and I got to work with so many fascinating animals, including rhinos. This work right now, working with the rhinos, is the result of a lot of years.
Hey everyone, if you were with us earlier, sorry, our Facebook Live broadcast got interrupted and it timed out on us or something happened. You know, technology, what are you going to do? If you're just joining us, this is our Earth Day live video, 50 years of Earth Day. We're celebrating here at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park's Nikita Kahn Rhino Rescue Center. Earlier on our previous broadcast, before it was interrupted, we were talking about Victoria and Edward and the work they're doing. We met Dr. Bara Durant doing all the science behind saving the species. We got some of our wildlife care specialists with us today as well. We've moved locations though. 2 more rhinos I want you to introduce you to. So I don't know, Scott or Johnny, you guys want to take over and tell people not only who these are, but what are some of their...
And Amani is her mother. You can see, you might be able to see some of the crash behind us. They all live together right now. And Future's pretty tired. She's been running around all morning, so she's taking a quick nap out in the heat. But Johnny is Amani's primary trainer, so she might be able to tell you all her favorite things.
Amani's favorite thing is food. She is definitely quite a large rhino for an adult female, and we all know that she loves her food, which makes her very easy to work with. White rhinos are pretty calm by nature. They're social. They're very curious. They always want to know what's going on. They love coming and seeing our guests when they're here on behind the scenes tours. So it makes a good advantage for us to be able to use the positive reinforcement training to get them to follow us around the facility to different places, to hold in position for various medical treatments that we might do with them. I think Future's tired from celebrating.
Yeah. Question?
Michelle wants to know, how much do they poop?
What a great question. So the frequency is about 4 to 6 times. Is it weird that I know the answer to this? About 4 to 6 times in a 24-hour period. Gosh, I feel like we weighed it at one point. It's probably over a couple 100 pounds a day. They're definitely, when we weigh them before they poop versus after they poop, there's a huge difference on the scale, if we can put it that way.
Some of her snacks? You have some of her snacks?
Oh, I didn't. Here.
And Gemma wants to know, do they have good eyesight?
They have pretty poor eyesight. You can see them moving their ears around constantly. They do funnel the sound in and depend on that. They've got large nostrils. They're funneling in information through their nose. So very olfactory and hearing driven, but poor eyesight.
So Scott mentioned that Future's our second artificially inseminated calf, or her mother was artificially inseminated, that is. And she was the result of insemination with chilled semen. So we collected semen, and the next day, after cooling it down, we inseminated. And so we learned something important there, that we can ship semen cooled. We don't have to freeze it. Freezing is more injurious to sperm. So if we can just cool it down to like refrigerator temperature, then we can ship it if we wanted to do artificial insemination at a zoo, another zoo in North America, for example. So it showed us that our collection techniques and our freezing techniques and our chilling techniques were good, but also the timing of the artificial insemination. And it's not just this group that is working on this project. There are a lot of people intimately involved in this project. One of our most important members of this team is Dr. Parker Pennington, and she does a lot of the ultrasounds and has developed some of the hormone protocols for this estrus induction. and she's watching from home today. We're keeping our social distance today, but there are a number of people who help develop the diets for these animals so that they don't get too much plant hormones that causes them to have infertility problems. So the diet was designed by Dr. Chris Tubbs in the Reproductive Physiology Lab, and he has essentially solved the problem of infertility in southern white rhinos in managed collections. Yeah.
We're getting a lot of questions about their second horn. Is there a purpose or reason for that?
Part of how they evolved, because we have the one-horn rhinos and Sumatras are smaller horns. So.
Maybe it's back up at the first one.
So we've been getting some questions about the horns. These two, obviously, the white rhinos have two horns. The greater one-horn rhino has just the one horn, and even like the Sumatrans, they have a smaller horn. Usually we look at the horn size and structure usually is influenced by the environment they live in. A lot of our plains type and open area type rhinos have the larger horns, black rhinos included. The jungle, the ones that live more in the jungle, like the Sumatran and the one horn, tend to have the smaller ones. Why some species have one versus two, it's hard to say. There's a lot of things that we still don't know about. Many of the species we feel we know a lot about, and that goes for a lot of the species we're trying to save. That's part of why we do the work we do, the work that Dr. Durant and her team are doing, the work that our staff does here caring for these animals allows us to continue to learn more, and we can apply that knowledge then to the care and conservation of them in the wild.
As you guys can see, Future left us. It's a great example of the choice and control that they have and they can exert at any time. It is a little hot out here today, and since Future was born late November, she isn't too used to the hot days, and she was running around earlier this morning, like I said, so she went and laid down in the shade like most of our other rhinos are doing right now.
Imani chose to stay with the food. Imani is a great mom, but she's very relaxed. She's become very reassured that Future can investigate and move around and do her own thing, and she feels secure with that.
All right, guys, well, thank you so much. And I want to take a moment to thank all of you again. We opened up our previous live video before it crashed on us, thanking everyone for the support we've been getting while we've been closed. Obviously, we're in different times. Thanks, Mom, for the mask. I appreciate it. We're kind of having to work differently with our animals. Our teams are split, so we have less people interacting with each other. And we've had a lot of people reach out to us saying, are you guys okay? Can we help? How are the animals doing? The animals are doing great because our staff is still working. They're essential staff for us. Our scientists, our veterinarians, our horticulturists, our nutritionists. A lot of people have stepped forward with donations too. So if you happen to see a donation button below this broadcast or even on our website, if you'd like to support us, it's a great way to help. As a nonprofit organization, we rely on donations. We rely on people visiting us. And right now, of course, we can't have people visiting us. I also want to give a big shout out to the Earth Day Network. EarthDay.org has partnered with us today. We were over on their Facebook page doing a video earlier today. They gave us a lot of great props, a great opportunity, and we want to recognize it's the 50th anniversary of Earth Day today. A very big day for all of us to take time to remember that our behavior definitely impacts the world around us that we live on, and the world we live on is very important for us to sustain our lives as well. Earlier today I was doing an interview on the news, and they asked, what can someone do? Every little bit helps. We recognize that the challenges that face conservation, wildlife, and ecosystems today have happened because of every little thing, or little things I should say, that each human does. So if we look at that in retrospect, if we each do a little thing different for the environment to help lessen our impact, whether it's reuse things, be a conscious consumer, drive a little less, use a little less energy, whatever it may be. It may not seem like much right there in front of your face, but think about your neighborhood, think about your city, think about your state. If each of us do just a little bit, it definitely adds up and makes a big difference. There's an interesting little scientific fact that came up during the interview too, is that satellite research is showing there's less air pollution right now because everyone's staying home. Goes to show you, a little bit of change from everybody can have a big impact. I'm not saying everyone has to stay home forever, but it allows us to be thoughtful and conscious in our ways in what we do today on Earth Day and hopefully every day after. So on behalf of our crew here, our awesome rhinos, all of our staff at the zoo and safari park, where every day is Earth Day for us, we want to wish you a happy Earth Day. Happy 50th anniversary Earth Day and Earth Day Network. We appreciate your work. Again, for more information, visit us on san diego zoo.org or earthday.org. Have a great one, everybody.